Linda Yates, the Image Energizer here, and I am so excited that you've signed up for this 3-part series about how to tap into your potential. And the first area that I want to cover today with you is your mindset. Your mindset is the launching pad for everything that has to do with your image, everything that has to do with you wanting to appear more professional and feel more professional, and everything that has to do with you wanting to accomplish your goals and your dreams, be it in your life or your business. It all comes down and starts with the mind. So what's going on in your head right now, today? What things do we have to push out of the way? What are some limiting beliefs that you have? Now, what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is something that you let begin to block you from achieving what it is you desire to achieve. Or perhaps someone's made a comment that says, you know what, that's not going to happen. And that becomes a limiting belief. And I want to share with you kind of a limiting belief that I started to maybe buy into a little bit from others. And this was actually from my husband. And you know, my husband's the most supportive person that there is. And anything that I desire to do, he's there to support me. But he also doesn't want me to be disappointed. So I know he will come off with a comment where he thinks it's being helpful, but I find it being limiting. And I realize I start buying into that. So I've learned that I kind of have to put a boundary on that limiting belief. For instance, when I started this business full-time, he was concerned that I wasn't going to be able to make the income that I was used to making quickly, and that I would run out of time, or we would financially run out of time in order for it to get going, because starting a new business can take time. They say the average is 3 to 5 years, give or take, right? And so I'll never forget, we were walking along the beach, and he says, you're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of time, Linda. And it wasn't that he didn't believe in me. He just felt like that we were going to run out of the resources to be able to make that happen. And what happened was I started to realize that, oh, maybe that's true. And it started to block me a little bit. Now, again, he wasn't trying to thwart me, but I realized I was buying into that. And it starts, again, with what my mindset is. So what did I do to stop that? And first of all, I had to recognize that it was a limiting belief, and I was starting to buy into it. So then I had to figure out what it was I needed to do to feed into my mind to start to learn how to get through that, to break through that barrier. So not buying into others' beliefs or even your own limiting beliefs. So what do you feel like is limiting you right now? Now, also breaking a barrier. Now, think about it. When we were born, that was the first barrier we broke. Now, some of us may have been scared to do anything else since. But every time we break a barrier, guess what? We feel a little more empowered. And that's what I want you to feel, is I want you to feel empowered. So think about a barrier that you can break today, or at least this week, or maybe this month or this year. But I would challenge you to think about a barrier that you can break at least every week. Do something every day that scares you, even just a little bit. Because when you do that, then you feel empowered and you're able to step through that. So not buying into others' beliefs, breaking a barrier. And then one of the other things that I talk a lot about, and I work a lot with the folks that I coach with, is write down some I am statements. And I heard this initially by Wayne Dyer. And actually, before I heard him talk about it, I actually had a mentor, now that I think about it. So I was working in corporate America many, many years ago, and this one gentleman kind of took me under his wing, kind of mentored me. And mentors are really important. And I've learned that mentors pick you. You don't pick mentors. They pick you. They see in you something that they want to mentor, right? Well, this mentor said to me, Linda, I want you to go home tonight, and I want you to say 3 statements, I am statements. And he he put that thought in my head, and I started doing that. And after I started doing that, things started to shift for me. In fact, I was eventually able to increase my income by 3 times. I was able to end up living on the beach when I had dreamed of living on the beach my whole life. I was able to drop 3 dress sizes. I mean, all these amazing things happened just because I started working on my mindset. But I would encourage you to think about some I am statements. Now, 2% of the women polled by the Girl Scouts of America said that they feel confident. Only 2%? That's pathetic. So one of the I am statements I would encourage you to implement today is I am confident. No one can say something for you. When you use the phrase I am, you're internalizing that. So what other 2 I am statements are you going to write out today? I am. I am a money-making machine. I am perfect health. What I am statement would work for you? Now, I've shared 3 different aspects for you. Not buying into others' beliefs, breaking barriers, and implementing I am statements. This is just a little bit of what you will learn on 6 steps to energize your personal brand. This is just one element that talks about mindset, and I've just kind of brushed over it with you, but that's the audio program that I've got. I'd love for you to learn more, and you're definitely going to get another video to check out, another segment. But everything with regard to image, everything with regard to success, to reaching our dreams, to nailing it on a presentation that you've got to give, whatever it is you're doing, it starts and begins and ends with mindset. So see yourself doing what it is you desire to do. Thank you for participating and being willing to download this video, and I hope that you've learned a lot from it and that you can implement it. And I know that as you really step to the plate and take this assignment on, and I challenge you that if you do this, that the reward will be great, that the outcome will be that you will uncover your strengths, realize your possibilities, so that you can accomplish your goals and your dreams. For I truly know that nothing is impossible. And I'll see you on the next video. Linda Yates, the Image Energizer here with part 2 of my 3-part video series. This video is focusing on what we put out comes back at us. Now, I don't know if you've noticed my logo. You've probably seen my logo if you're watching this video, but my logo is kind of an element of the sun and motion. And part of the reason why that got created the way that it did is years ago, as I was traveling in and out of different areas, speaking to all sorts of different groups, week in and week out on the same topic. Every other week I was in a different major city. Several of the attendees, the conventioners, would come up to me and they're like, wow, Linda, you have so much energy. How come you have so much energy? And I said to them, I said, I am solar powered. And because I love the sun, and when I have light, I feel light and I feel that energy. But what I've learned as time has gone on and as I've studied and been speaking about and coaching and training on image is that what we put out actually comes back at us even twofold. Think about it. When you put on clothes and you dress for a certain occasion, you dress for a job interview, or you dress for that new prospect, or you dress for that new date, right? Because you want to look your best, you want to feel your most confident. You're wanting to step out and make a great first impression, and most likely a positive, lasting impression. But as you step out and you feel confident as you step out, what actually is happening is it comes back to you. So the more you step out in confidence, the more you dress for success, if you will, or dress to impress, then you're going to actually impress yourself. And as you impress yourself, then you feel more confident. And then the cycle just keeps going, and it just continues to spin. So that's not just with clothes. That's with your body language. So think about your body language as you're open in your body language, and rather than being closed off or changing your eye contact or not smiling or smiling. As you smile, people smile back at you, right? Just look at a baby. I mean, a baby gets so excited and they wave their arms and they wiggle when you smile at them. So you smile at them and you put that out, but guess what? How much comes back at you from that baby? But as you do that and you engage with people and you get these kind of surprised connections sometimes, maybe if you smile at someone, they're like, oh, they're smiling at me. But then you can kind of smile, but then if they smile back at you, again, that comes back at you. As you smile, you appear more confident. So your body language is a big part of that as well. And then also as you serve others and look for opportunities to give and share, you know what? That actually comes back for you tenfold. Never fails. Looking to do good. Looking to help others and serve others' needs. Communication, so body language, serving others, your dress. These are all a part of what you put out comes back. And this is what I find extremely fascinating. And in fact, I've developed this system called the 15-ray system, where all these different rays represent all the different ways that we're projecting out in our image. But again, it all comes back to us. And as it comes back to us, we then feel more confident. So then we appear and are more confident. And as we are able to do that, we're able to uncover our strengths so that we can realize the possibilities that are there for us in order to accomplish our dreams and our goals. Now, this aspect of what comes back, what we give out there comes back at us twofold. I go into it at more detail on my audio program called 6 Steps to Energize Your Personal Brand. As I said, I found that there are 15. Well, in this audio program, I go in depth into 6 different steps. And so there's a video that explains that, but I'd love for you to check that out and engage in that so that you can continue to learn and take on. So I want you to think this next week, what are the clothes that I put on every day that it makes me feel more confident? And dress in them. Especially if you're going through a rough time, maybe you're a little depressed, step it up. Step up your hair, you know, if your makeup, or go buy a new shirt or something that will just make you feel a little more confident. Because again, what you put out comes back. Who can you serve this week? Who can you smile at? And then what is your body language saying to those that you meet? What is your posture saying? You know, we are able to tell those people that have it. And sometimes it is hard to define, but guess what? Posture is a big part of it. So how is your posture? Get your posture up and out and strong, your shoulders back, your feet planted. All of those things will impact your image. I hope that you've taken a lot from this video, and I'm grateful that you would be interested in this video and pass it on. And again, there's 3 parts to this 3-part video. The first part we spoke about was your mindset and how important your mindset is. So if you haven't listened to that video, you want to go back and listen to that video. So check that out. But thanks again for coming and participating in this video series. And I know that as you implement the tips and the strategies that I talk about here, that you can uncover your strengths, realize the possibilities for you so that you can accomplish your dreams and your goals, for I truly know that nothing is impossible. Linda Yates, the Image Energizer, here with my 3-part video series about how to tap into the best possible you and the potential that you have. Thank you for joining me on this 3-part video series. You know, our first video, we talked about mindset and how to get your mind in the right place in order for you to do what it is you want to do and accomplish the things that you want to accomplish so you can tap into that potential. So if you haven't listened to that video, please go back and check that video out. And then in part 2, we talked about what you give off comes back. and what that's all about. So go check that out and learn the tips that you've listened to in there, and go and implement them. Well, this video is all about confidence. Now, I heard a really disturbing study a while back in all the research that I did, and Girl Scout polled over 100 women, and they found that only 2% of them felt confident. 2% of 100 women? That really is discouraging. But you think about it, you talk to different people, or you even talk to your kids that are maybe they're leaving the nest now, or they're even in junior high or middle school, and they're feeling the society pressures, right, of their friends, or that they're not good enough, or they're believing or they're buying into all these marketing aspects that they're not good enough or they're not enough. I was even actually working with a woman years ago that she kind of came to this moment in her late 50s, how she felt like she wasn't enough. So do you feel like you're not enough? And if you do, then I want you to take some of the lessons I want to share with you today about confidence to heart. Now, confidence is something that maybe you think that maybe other people give you if they give you compliments. That's confidence. Well, it's not. It really starts with your self-image. And confidence comes from inside. So think about the things that you feel like are your strengths. And in fact, write those down right now. Just pause this video and write what are your strengths. And think about why they became your strengths and how they do make you feel empowered. Because then that begins to shift your mindset. But some other ways to feel confident is to become a really great listener. And a really great listener is a person that asks great questions. And you will appear more confident if you listen. And listen for what's not being said. Listen to understand. And not listen to thinking about what your next comment's going to be and what your retort is going to be, or, oh, I have something to tell you on that, and you kind of tune them out and you tune back into your head. But get really good at listening. And as you listen, your confidence will increase. So the better listener you become, the more confident you become. So that's the key. In the first video, I talked about, as I said, mindset. I talked about breaking barriers and not buying into others' beliefs. And as you do those, you're going to be more confident. The second video, I talked about body language. Talked a little bit about the clothes you wear and leaning into what makes you feel the most confident in that. But I want you to think about some of those dreams that you've had and what those goals are. And why haven't you done them yet? What's holding you back? Most likely it's you holding you back. And I would encourage you to step aside, write down a couple of goals that you want to achieve before the end of the year. And maybe you're watching this video at the beginning of the year, or maybe you're watching this video on December 15th. But what is it that you want to achieve before the end of the year? And just write them down, fold them up, put them aside, and guess what? The likelihood of you achieving at least one of those goals is over 50% if you're writing it down. So that will encourage confidence. Lean in to those things that scare you. That will encourage confidence. Confidence is not something someone can give you. It comes from within. And it's having those tough conversations with yourself of understanding what your strengths are. Now, if you feel like, oh, I don't have any strengths. First off, that's not true. That's a lie. But if we're really going to argue, then if you had a strength, what could it be? And as I ask you that question, that opens up maybe a glimmer of who you really are. And lean into who you really are. So listen. Get really good at listening. Write down your strengths. And then if you're struggling with that, if I had a strength, what could it be? Or what interests me? And go after it. And go get it. And then I love this phrase, I've got this. I've got this. Whatever it is you're going to do to conquer fear, I've got this. Now, these videos have been exploring all these different aspects of tapping into your potential, tapping into the best you. In my study and my research, I've discovered that there are 15 rays that are what I like to call rays, that are always projecting out with regard to our image. But what's fascinating about each one of those 15 rays is that it actually comes back to us. So the more we project out in the way, and whether it's positive or negative, we're always projecting. Whether it's clothes we wear or our body language, or the way we communicate, the words we use to others, the words we're using to ourselves, the way it projects out, it comes back. I created this audio program called 6 Steps to Energize Your Personal Brand. 6 steps. And mindset is one of them, body language is one of them, the way you dress is another, the way you communicate, how you speak is another one of those. But I'd love for you to check it out because I go in at length in that, and there's a video about that you can learn more about. But your confidence is within you. We just have to tap it open. You are that eagle that can soar. And an eagle soars because it has wind that forces against it. So it has pressure against it. So what pressure do you need? Well, I'm going to give you pressure. Go do something you're scared to do. Because I know that if you do that, you will discover. You will uncover your strengths. You will realize the possibilities for you so that you can accomplish your goals and your dreams. For I truly know that nothing is impossible. Thank you for participating in this 3-part video series. If you haven't checked out Linda's Success Tips, do so. There's a weekly tip every week. I also have a podcast called The Executive Edge where I interview folks from all over the world about how they've tapped into their edge. I've got a book out now, Beyond the Clothes, Image and Presence. I've got the audio program, 6 Steps to Energize Your Personal Brand. And last but not least, I have a free ebook called Uncover the Possible, 12 Secrets to Success, or 12 Steps to Success. I can't remember. Did I say secrets or steps? I always forget. No matter, you'll find it on my website at Linda with an I, H as in happy, Yates.com. Again, that's Linda with an I, H as in happy, Yates.com. And thank you for participating. Have a great day, and I know that nothing is impossible. Have you ever compared yourself to anyone else? When I was about 9 years old, I remember being with my mom, and she ran into an old friend, and this old friend's name was Carol. Now, Carol and my mom were good friends, and they were asking about each other's lives and their children and what was going on in their different children's lives. Well, my little sister happened to be with us, and this gal's name that my mom was visiting with, her friend, her name was Carol. And Carol asked or commented on Sherry, my little sister, and she said, "Sherry is so cute. She's like the cutest in your family. She's just so adorable, and she's so cute." And then the conversation kind of changed, and I remember her then asking about Carolyn, my older sister. And Carolyn was valedictorian that year, graduating from high school and now off to college. And Carol made the comment that, "Man, Carolyn, she's so smart." And you know what I heard that day? I heard that day that I wasn't smart and I wasn't cute or pretty. Now, Carol didn't say this, but that's what I internalized. And it impacted me. Now you fast forward that a few years later, and in my church group, my dear sweet young women's advisor, she taught my class, these other girls my age, about 12, 13-year-olds, about skincare. And she started to open my eyes to skincare and makeup, and I was very fascinated with that. And she was involved with this network marketing company that sold the skincare. And somehow I convinced my mom and dad that they needed to make this investment for me, because I didn't have my own paycheck at that point, into this company. And so I sold them on that fact, so I guess I was a great salesperson even then. on getting me into this network marketing company. Well, when I went to the first course to learn about the product and understand the product and the system, it was my first professional development course, and I was probably about 13 years old. And this first course, this woman, her name was Trisha Kwai, and I will never, ever forget her. She was Mrs. Utah, and she was gorgeous. She was tall, she was slender, she was dark-haired, very exotic looking. And when I heard her speak, I thought, I want to be like her. She inspired me. And then as she spoke and shared with me this system, what I learned that day and many days after that day was there was potential in me and that I had strengths. Now that experience changed my life. And quite frankly, that's what began my path down image, because this company, what it was, is a network marketing company for makeup and clothes and lingerie. Now that company is no longer in business. But I got so involved, and in fact, those pivotal years, those pivotal teenage years, I ended up doing my first keynote speech when I was 16 years old to 300 of my peers in the state of Idaho. And the speech happened to be about tapping into your potential. Now, I share this all with you because this is kind of the background of who I was and what was coming for me. Now, I grew up in a large family, a very high performance family, and they were hard workers. They did multiple things. They had a family business as well as worked. My father was the superintendent of schools. My mother went back to school after raising her kids and then taught school for 20 plus years. But they also had a ranch and a farm, and so I grew up in a very small community. But I was really fortunate because this community that I grew up in, this incredible family that I was blessed to be raised in, made me realize and believed in me that nothing was impossible. So even though I was comparing myself to my siblings, they still believed and encouraged me. Now I know that not everybody has that experience. And now fast forward a few years later, and I started to step away from what I knew that I was really passionate about, of image and helping others achieve their potential. And I kind of stepped away from it, and I fell into my fear that I started working in corporate America. But again, another turn of the page was a great blessing, because through that experience, I got to work with some incredible mentors and coaches. And in this experience of working with these different mentors and coaches, they saw in me the possibilities. And the common thread throughout my career working in corporate America was these different entities would always basically say, hey, Linda, you tell the message of our group. Hey, Linda, you share and get everybody excited. Hey, Linda, you're the promoter for us. And so, again, it tied in that image and that aspect and representing the image of the organizations. Yeah, I'd like to say that I really leaned in to working and staying in image, because that was my dream, to continue to inspire others to realize their potential. But I bought into the fear that I needed to have a full-time job. And I'm grateful that I had those full-time jobs, and I had incredible mentors and coaches that saw the possibilities in me and kept giving me those opportunities to step out and be that face and that front of the company. And I learned a lot of things. Worked in several different industries, worked in technology, worked in a university system, worked with a international conference group, a workshop group. Had the opportunity to speak to thousands and thousands of people and be on a stage representing others' brands, but also representing my brand, representing my image. But like I said, I didn't lean into what was possible for me. I let fear kind of rule me and guide me. And it wasn't until I started to experience a change and kind of a shift that I began to have this thought of, well, what if I could do what I always dreamed of doing? So I began to set a goal and put it out there that by a certain age, I would either have my own business or I would be making another change. So I had that goal and I had that thought. And as I was getting closer to the age, I thought, well, the only way I'm going to make this happen is if I start doing something. So what should I do? So the first thing I decided to do was to start telling people what it is that I was really passionate about. And I started having individuals come to me, executives, other senior executives, other employees, other people going and changing careers, changing transitions, professional services organizations, professionals, asking me questions. Hey, Linda, could you maybe help me with that? Hey, Linda, could you help me with that? So I kind of started to fall into it. But really, I was, again, touching the opportunity to do that. As these individuals would call me up and say, hey, could you help me with that? I thought, wow, there's a need here. But again, it was stoking that fire within me of what I knew what it was I wanted to do eventually with my life, with my career, and what my calling was, if you will. So a little coaching here, a little consulting there. Hey, Linda, I'm really struggling with what outfits to put together to go to court. Could you help me with that? You bet. So I created a package to go into individuals' closets and to help them design and put the best possible them together. I knew that I wanted to impact others with some of the writing that I have done. And in fact, I started working on a book. And 18 years it took to finally get this book, and this book finally got done. And I'm really excited about the book. And I'm really touched when people say, wow, that's really helped me, and it's changed my life, and it's changed the way I interact, and it's changed the way I look at myself, and it's changed my image, and it's helped me be a better me. And those things mean so much. But again, I still wasn't releasing. I wasn't jumping off the cliff, because I was scared. It wasn't until a change happened for me. Downsizing occurred. What? To me? I wasn't earning the six-figure income anymore, but I didn't have an excuse to jump off the ledge. And even other job offers were coming, but it seemed like every time I was about to accept that job and then it didn't quite feel right, then a new client would come. And boom, my business just started growing and growing and growing. And I almost bought into other limiting beliefs and not moving forward with my business. But now as I look back, I realized that I was, again, headed towards my North Star. And that was helping others realize what was possible for them. Helping others realize that their image, that their personal brand is theirs alone, and they can enhance it just by little tweaks. So one of the first things I started doing is I created a blog. So I had a blog, I had a newsletter, and then I created an audio program. And through all my study, what I realized is what I like to call 15 different rays that are broadcasting out on our image. But what's fascinating about those rays is that they actually come back into us. And we are then regenerating our energy and regenerating our image. So for instance, when I put on clothes that make me feel good about me, I look good and I'm more confident and I engage and I can connect and I make a positive first impression with someone else. But guess what? I feel better about me. And so then I'm more confident and then I can engage more. And those are the things that I was learning. And I'm really grateful for that. Now, I've made mistakes in my career. And those mistakes have taught me some major, major lessons. And I'm definitely not perfect. But I've had to learn how to step up or get back up again after an image mishap. So our behavior impacts our image. The way we communicate impacts our image. But through these experiences, I've been able to build a business that is really exciting and fun to do because I can connect with others. I can help them uncover their strengths. Strengths that maybe they didn't even realize that they had, so that they can realize and tap into the possibilities that are there waiting for them to grab. In fact, one of the things that I talk about when I speak is blue sky thinking. And blue sky thinking is this, of thinking what if? What if that were possible? And not letting others limit you. And I guess one of the reasons that I believe in this is because I've seen it for myself. Sometimes it's easier to believe it for other people than it is yourself. And I guess that's one of the things that I'm learning. In fact, friends and my business coaches have said to me, Linda, you're going to write a book about this as well. And I probably will at some point. Maybe that will be the next book. But what if? What if this is possible? So that's the question I would have for you. What is possible for you? And that's what this business has taught me, and the things that I'm learning and experiencing and wanting to share with others of what's possible for them. That's why I started a podcast, the Executive Edge Podcast. This podcast focuses on individuals and how they have tapped into their edge, because we all have an edge. We also have challenges, and so we talk about how they've overcome those challenges. And I've had opportunities to interview people all over the world about what their edge is. But I love what it is I get to do. I get to engage with business owners. I get to engage with millennials. I get to engage with people that are going through transition, or people just entering the workforce or coming back into the workforce. Men and women. I mean, initially I thought my message was for women. And I really believe that women, Girl Scouts had a study years ago that found that 92% of women don't believe that they're beautiful. 92%? And only 2% of that survey that they surveyed feel like they're confident. So I thought my message, needs to be for women. But what's been most fascinating is I have found that men want to hear the same message, because they're dealing with the things that they're dealing with, and they've had shifts that have occurred for them in their career and their relationships. So our image is always talking out to other people. It's always projecting, but it's always talking in. So these are the things that I got really passionate about. And that's why I created Linda H. Yates Coaching and Consulting Group. And that's why my tagline is nothing is impossible. And that's why my anchor words are uncover your strengths, uncover, realize, and accomplish. Because those are power words. Those are possible words. It's very humbling to do what you love. And I know that you may not be experiencing that right now, but I know that I can help you figure out what that is. Or if you're in charge of a meeting, you're looking for a speaker to entertain and inspire your audience, I would be very honored to be a part of that process as well. I know what it is to have water splashed on your dreams or the fire to go out. I know what it is involved and what's involved to kind of stoke that again. And I'm really thankful that I've tapped into those things, and I'm learning, and I'm still learning. And what's awesome about my experience is I learn from those individuals and organizations that I get the opportunity to serve and help and bring value to, because that's my goal. I mean, that's why I do this. That's what I love, and that's what I believe. I believe and know that nothing is impossible, because I've seen that in my own life. I've seen that throughout my career. I've seen that in my business. I've seen that in my relationships. I've seen that in my experience. I know tough things come, but I also know that falling down is an opportunity to get up. And when you fall down, we're taught. So that's who I am. That's who Linda Yates is. I'm an Idaho farm girl that's had the opportunity to live in Alaska and Utah and Florida, Georgia, and again, I'm an Idaho farm girl. I've had the opportunity to speak all over the world and the country. I've had the opportunity to run in every state of the United States. I've had the opportunity to ride a horse in a rodeo and play with dogs. And I've had the opportunity to be a mother to 3 amazing children. And I have the incredible opportunity to be married to the man of my dreams. And sorry, I'm a little emotional, but that's who I am. That's who you're getting. So if you're looking for a life coach, or you're looking for a speaker, or you're looking for a trainer or business coach, I would love to have a conversation with you. But that's who Linda Yates is. But more importantly, you need to know that Linda Yates believes and knows that nothing is impossible.